Hello class, we're going to be looking at page 38 and we're going to be learning about how to interpret a blood typing test. A blood typing test is something you do where you take some blood from somebody's finger, just a little prick, you get 3 drops of blood and you test each drop with anti-A, anti-B, and anti-RH. What we're trying to do is see if any of the blood clots, and if it does, then we know that we've identified that a certain blood type contains a certain shape. For example, if we were to take type B blood and add anti-B to it, then a whole bunch of the B would all clump together like this. So if you had a droplet of blood that was nice and smooth, and then you added some anti-B to it, on a microscopic level, right, when we blow this up really big, what's actually going to happen if we add anti-B to somebody who has B blood, then the blood over time will start to form little clumps like this, and we'll start to see little dots. So, and this is what would happen in your body if we did it in your body. Now, in order to tell what blood type somebody is, we actually take little vials that contain these antibodies. So over here, I drew the little Y shapes. I'll just draw them little microscopic, right? These are the little Y-shaped antibodies for anti-B. Anti-B, okay? So we take a bunch of these antibodies. We also take a bunch of A antibodies. I drew it in purple, so I'll draw these in purple. Anti-A. I'll just do a very simple Y shape because it would take a long time to draw this exact shape over and over again, okay? And then finally, RH. Here's a little vial of anti-RH. Now, I want you guys to know about this because if you have a vial of anti-B and anti-A and anti-RH, and you add it to 3 drops of somebody's blood, like this, I take a glass microscope slide and I prick somebody's finger with a small needle and you squeeze blood, bloop, onto the paper. I'm going to put 1 drop here, I'm going to put 1 drop here, and I'm going to put 1 drop here, okay? If I then added, and I'm going to switch the order here, if I added some anti-A, I'll do it in alphabetical order. If I add some anti-A here, and if over here I add anti-B, and over here I add anti-RH, okay? And then after I add a drop of it, so I'm going to add a drop of this one, add a drop of this one, and then I use a toothpick to mix it around, okay? After some time, these antibodies are going to have a chance to either grab on or not grab on. If, for example, the blood looks like this, none of these 3 antibodies can grab this because there's no shapes that can be grabbed. Whereas this one, if you were type AB positive, then what you would start to see is, let's pretend this is like time going by. Okay? If you're type AB positive, your blood has the special little bumps, RH factor, and triangles. So when the blood mixes with anti-A, then that droplet of blood will start to look clumpy. It'll start to form clumps. Because anti-A, this shape, is grabbing onto this. It found that shape to grab onto. If you have the bumps, then anti-B will grab onto it, just like this. So instead of looking smooth like these look still, it would start to look clumpy. And if you are anti-RH, so if you have RH, then it'll grab onto the RH and it'll form clumps. Okay? So, if we mix your 3 drops of your blood, 1 with anti-A, 1 with anti-B, 1 with anti-RH, we can tell what shapes your blood has. If it clumps, you have triangles. If this one clumps, you have bumps. If this one clumps, you have plus signs. And if they don't clump, then you don't have that shape. So as an example, what if you mixed your blood with these 3 different things and you ended up with one that was clumpy, one that stayed smooth, and RH factor also stayed smooth. Think about that for a minute. What blood type would this person be? Well, since the only thing to clump was the one that had the triangle shape, that means that the blood definitely has to have the triangle shape. That's what's causing this one to clump. But there's no bumps because only the triangle is clumping. Only this triangle anti-A is grabbing triangles. These, it's negative for B and it's negative for RH, so there's no plus signs. This person would be A negative. Using this information, you should be able to try and answer the questions over here. You can first answer this data table. You're going to write clumping or not clumping. What would you expect each of the droplets of blood to do? If you added anti-A, if you added anti-B, and if you added anti-RH. Here is an example. I wrote clumping or no clumping, but I also described why. Over here then, let's do an example. This is our symbol for clumping. This is for smooth. You can see that their blood must have triangles because it clumped here. So that's A. It doesn't have any bumps, but it does have RH because it clumped with this one. So this person would be considered A positive blood type. Go ahead and figure out the rest of these blood types and then answer these questions about who can donate blood to who. Good luck.